This is just stupid now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 15.
Hey, she nailed it.
Of the Open Door Podcast. I'm Chelsea.
I'm Bedford.
And we're excited to have you guys back.
We are.
We are going to get to Bedford's random segment, but today's episode is going to be a rebound off of last week's episode. So if you listened to last week's episode about the things that we do in our marriage, just to keep it safe and take care of it, lots of people were mad, which is not a shocker because I said in last week's episode that a lot of people were mad when I did the post. So, it's easy to anticipate. But we're going to read some of that feedback and address some of the comments. So, if you were in it for last week's episode,
we're going to double down on the fun.
you can obviously listen. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, you can obviously still listen to this one, but it might make more sense if you listen to last week's prior. So
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Tell me the stuff.
Okay, random things I found in the news. These things aren't that random. They've actually been popping in the news, but there's two of them. Okay, and we've actually discussed some of them. But the first one, we're going to talk about the CEO.
Oh my gosh.
United Health Group. Okay, CEO, he's going to a meeting. Somebody just says, hey, you know what? Nah, assassination attempt. And unfortunately, that man passed on. Right? He was killed by a random guy. Luigi, I think is his name. Mangione or something like that.
I don't know his name. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think I've had enough bad experiences with insurance that and we've had this conversation where I'm like, no, insurance doesn't need to be like that. I get really irritated about things like that. And if you've ever I watched this show, I don't remember what it's called, but it's by Mike Myers. It's a documentary, Michael Myers. And it's talking about different healthcare, in the United States versus Canada versus whatever. And it's talking about how all of these people with these horror stories about paying insurance for years and years and years.
And then when you need it.
Yeah. And then when you need it. And you see this across everything, medical insurance, home insurance, car insurance, right? You pay insurance for years and then you need it. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, cool, we'll cover some of it. And you're like, y'all didn't even cover half of what I paid this year in deductibles. What the heck is going on? And so I hate it. I think insurance is a fraud. I really do.
To a degree. And I think the idea of insurance is good, but I feel like they got their hands on in ways that have crept the price up of everything to where it's like a monopoly, right?
Yeah.
I guess I've heard rumors to where if you go to pharmacists, they can't tell you how much stuff is if you want to pay out of pocket.
That's so
because
annoying.
And they're not allowed to tell you, but you can ask. And you probably should. So I remember one time, who was it? One of our kids had a tooth infection, or they were going through some pain and they needed to get some pain medicine. It might have been Mimi. And no, it was Maya. It was Maya when she was getting she had a toothache. We had to get that fixed.
Well, she ended up having to have her tooth pulled.
Yeah. But before, they wanted to get her on some antibiotics.
Yes.
And some pain medicine. And because of their kids, the pain medicine that they had was really hard to come by. So I went to, a couple of different local places. They didn't have it in the right kid dosage. And I'm frustrated. And then I go to there's the specialty shop that whips it up right then and there, which I'm not sure why not all pharmacists do. Maybe they do. I don't know. And they were like, yeah, we could get it. And the guy looked at it and he said, hey, your insurance won't cover it. And I'm like, what? What do you mean my insurance won't cover it? And I'm over here shivering in my boots. He's like, yeah, it's supposed to cost this much. The insurance won't cover it. That you might need to go to the doctor and get a different prescription. And I was like, no way. And I was like, well, and this was me asking just a stupid question just to figure out if there's holes. I'm flustered. I'm like, well, how much is it if I just pay for it? And he's like, let me go look. He goes to the back. He looks. It's $14. So here I am oh, I'm cooked. But then all of a sudden it was wait a second. With insurance, if they would have covered it, I would have paid $60 for this medicine. and then they would have paid a little bit as well, and then all of a sudden I go and pay cash for it and it's $25. Like, how is it? It ain't even cheaper for me to have insurance right now.
No, it's crazy. And here's the other thing. So my cousin just had a baby, and yesterday I went and hung out with her at the and like held the
cousin.
baby.
Okay.
Held her baby, and we sat and talked, and so she was telling me that her baby, so all of her kids have, her husband has some like heart complications
yeah,
or
they
you know
arrhythmias.
and then her children also, because of that, they are genetic, her children will each have it as well, right? So her baby, they found out that her baby had this heart thing, and you know, usually they'll just go to the cardiologist a week later, but they were like, well, we're going to put him in the NICU. And she was like, he's my fourth baby. I've never had this happen before. Like, usually we just go to the cardiologist a week later and, you know, they do all the scans and stuff.
Because all of our kids have it, right?
Right. And they were like, well, we're going to keep him, and we're going to keep him in the NICU. And she was like, okay. So they keep him in the NICU for 2 days. And in that time, there was never a time, day or night, that mom or dad was not there. She's nursing, so they didn't have to, he could eat on his own. So she nursed him. She changed all of his diapers. They would bring him medicine, like the little drop medication where you just essentially feed it to them. And they would just give it to her and she would feed him the medication. He didn't require any like needles or whatever, right? Like they would take his blood sugar every once in a while. But she was like, I pretty much did everything, like me and my husband, for 2 days.
It cost him like $100,000 or something stupid.
$10,000 for 2 days, and she didn't, just for the NICU. That's not her delivery. That's not the anesthesiologist. That's not, she was like looking at her itemized bill, and she said that they were charging her like $25 a pop per ibuprofen.
Oh yeah.
And so she was like the Tux pads that they give you right after you have a baby, they give you this little tiny container that has like 15 Tux pads in it, because you know, you just delivered a baby, and it was like $100.
Yeah,
just for this thing. And she's like, I came home and I got like quadruple that amount for like $6 at the store. And
it's not because they're better. Like, don't come with
they're the exact same. And quite frankly, the hospital doesn't give you anything better. You look at the blankets that they're wrapping babies in, like they're not coming out of anywhere to try to give you a good quality of anything. They're literally giving you the same medication that you could get somewhere else.
It's like, where can I get it? The most like profit margin.
Yes, and it's not like they're giving me better ibuprofen. I'm getting the same ibuprofen that I could just get at the store, $8 for 100 and something pills. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy business. So all of that to say, Kate, like, I totally understand why someone
not cool to kill someone.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
However,
but what I was saying though is I think this person has to have had some type of experience, because he didn't target a health insurance CEO for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, I am curious to know if there is a backstory where insurance failed him or a family member in some way to where he felt so strongly that was necessary. Like, I just want to know why.
Yeah. Well, and apparently, like, even when you look at the pictures of the individual, like, I saw the picture, I was like, you know what? I would hang out with the dude that's supposed to be the bad guy. And then they're, like, trying to make me feel bad for an image of Lex Luthor. And I'm like, I don't know that I rock with you. I see the seedy eyes. Now, that being said, I'm sorry for your wife and your kids.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's not okay and it's sad, but it's just one of those things where the backstory, again, backstory doesn't justify, okay? But I am curious as to what his reasoning was. Like, why that person?
I just think that's another person that got fed up with the system. And
100%.
Like, is done with it. And quite frankly, when I think the guy made millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it's like, I can't get my health care taken care of, but you get to go live on a yacht. And I'm sure those are, and granted, that's the way this world works. That's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Like, you get in the right spot and you do seedy things, and sometimes you get paid exceptionally well for it, right?
Sure.
But
it's like, it's not all ethical. It's kind of like on The Incredibles, where he's like, listen, you gotta say this. And then you gotta start crying. And then you gotta pretend like I denied you. However, go to this other place. Because it's, because it's like, that's totally how it is.
Like, in the insurance company?
Yes.
100%.
And he's like, listen, there's a place, go somewhere else.
Who's
go
looking
there.
out for the shareholders?
I know. Exactly. But that's totally how it is. They all know. Like, it's not like people are like, listen, yes, this makes complete sense. We get it. You're just like, they get it, okay? Like, they get it, but it's their job. Like, it's their job. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting as it moves forward now that they found the guy to see if he comes out and says, like, why or what happened.
Well, yeah, he got arrested, yelled some stuff, and I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense. He's probably a little bit crazy. Let's call it
100%. I mean, you kind of would need to be, quite frankly, you would need to be in a certain frame of mind.
You know what was funny, though? When I saw the picture of the CEO, you remember I used to sell to healthcare.
Yeah.
I think I've been on a Zoom
call.
Oh,
my gosh.
I think that's possible.
That's wild.
So that's definitely a face. I've seen it on LinkedIn a couple of times. I'm for sure have emailed him. He definitely hasn't emailed me back because I wasn't at that level. But I think I've been on a Zoom call I definitely worked with UHG, UHC, all them.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Small world.
Okay, what's your next one?
But the next one is on the same kind of topic. We talked about this guy as well, but video trending of a guy getting furious at a Sandy Mazda dealership.
Oh my gosh. In Utah. Okay, so if you guys don't know, we're in Utah. Like, go ahead.
My guy buys a Subaru at a Mazda dealership. He already messed up. Okay, you don't buy Mazda, you don't buy Subaru at Mazda, right? He drives away, realizes right away that the car is not in good condition, right? And granted, they sold the car as is. They probably could have done a better job of explaining what's going on. So he calls them up. He says, hey, it's been like 45 minutes. This car ain't it. Like, it doesn't run right. There's something wrong with it. They don't want to take it back. So he drives back and
when he says he drives back, he drives all the way to the front desk, through a wall.
Yeah. Smashes
into the showroom.
And I have never seen a more used car salesman group of guys in my whole life. Like, every one of them was like,
well, he starts yelling at him.
I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust the guy that bought it either. I don't trust nobody.
No, the guy that he gets out of his car, he's like, I told you that if you didn't take this car back, that I was driving it through the building. Like, he is yelling. They're like, hey, call the police. Somebody call the police. Yeah. Like, what a crazy situation. Also, though, like, car salesmen,
they don't have a strong history. I've almost done it.
Well, Bedford has worked for a car dealership. Granted, he was doing detailing.
But
it's like, so...
No. Hold on. I'm going to first say, my man, Curtis Auto Sales, okay? They're legit.
Okay, no, that's totally fine.
They try to do right by everybody. Okay?
That's great.
But having been in the industry, that is not the norm.
Well, so here's the story. So before Bedford and I met, like right before Bedford and I met, well, okay, not right before, but I was years. Like, yeah, maybe like a year or so, a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah,
okay?
Could have been too many.
Because it was right before I got divorced. Okay, so right before I got divorced, I was so upside down in this car that I was driving. And it ended up being like, it didn't make sense to fix it because of what it was worth. And so I was like, the only way I'm going to get out of this is to buy a brand new car, like brand freaking new. And because I worked at a credit union at the time. And so I did loans all the time. And I was like, I don't have $8,000. I'm upside down $8,000 in this car because of damages in an accident that wasn't my fault. At this point, the only way I'm going to get out from under this is if I buy a brand new freaking car and I take it to 130% loan to value and wrap this $8,000 in, okay? Which
solid plan, actually.
Just for the record, again, I've been doing loans at this time for a long time. So I know that sounds crazy, but if you don't have $8,000, you don't have a car, because my car was not working, right?
Look, the strategy actually was sound.
I knew it, okay?
The execution...
No, the execution was even fine. However...
Nope, it wasn't fine. I'm going to call you right there. Nobody on God's green earth decides that Kia is the way to
Bedford,
spend it.
So I go with Kia, okay?
Terrible decision.
But here's the thing. So I had been doing loans for a long time, but the reality is that when there's like a huge problem with the car, as the loan officer, I'm not ever going to hear about it,
Yep.
right? Like, so it's going to be the mechanic, and then it's going to be the collections department if there's really a problem. So I'm not in the business of knowing what cars have good history of, like, you know, that's not what I'm in the business of. I'm in the business of what does the loan look like? How much is the car? Is
She's
it
not
used,
a car
etc.
gal, okay.
I don't know what brand or like what you would buy. Okay. So I go to Kia. My ex-husband and I, we both go to Kia. He has a really old car, so he buys a car that he is not upside down in because his is old. And I buy my car. Okay, so at the time I buy a
Kia Forte EX. I know. I spent a lot of time underneath it.
Yeah.
Heaps of time underneath it.
Yeah. So it was I loved that car, just for the record. However, 2 years later, I meet Bedford, and I start having problems with it. Well, I find out it's the engine. And I'm like, but you know what? That's okay, because I bought a warranty.
Yep.
Okay. I bought a whole freaking car.
Bumper to bumper warranty. But we knew it didn't work because the first time we took the car in for a warranty, it was for a faulty tail light. And it wasn't the light that was faulty. It was the tail light switch or something like that. There was something wrong with
dumb.
it. Anyway, they looked at it and they were like, yeah, this isn't under our bumper to bumper warranty. And it was like,
okay, well, it's between bumpers. It is between the bumpers, so it's ridiculous.
And it's within 10 years and 100,000 miles. I feel like I don't understand.
But here's the thing. Yeah. So the warranty actually says that it covers the engine, right? So I'm like, cool. We take it in, and they're like, well, what kind of oil have you been putting in it? And I'm like, conventional.
The oil you tell us to put.
And they're like, well, you should have been using this premium oil. And I was like, where does it say that? Literally anywhere. Yeah. And the guy was like, well, you should have known. Like, this is a brand new car when you bought it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, when I go to get an oil change, they say, what kind of oil do you want? And I say, does it matter? Like, and they say no. And I say, okay, then conventional's fine. And I put conventional oil in it. They passed it back on us and said, well, you guys were using the wrong oil, so that sucks. They would not fix it. And within 2 years, my brand new car that had under 40,000 miles, it had like 31,000 miles on it. It was brand new. We couldn't drive it anymore. We took it to a couple places to try to see if we could have the engine fixed. They wanted like $9,000 for it. I'm upside down already. Yeah. Okay, I'm already upside down. I can't afford $9,000. I can't wrap $9,000 into my car. Why would I pay $9,000 for a car that is already upside down?
So I pull out my do-it-myself kit. YouTube. I actually bought the owner's manual too. Like the dealership owner's manual cost me like $130, and I did the head gasket my dang self. And it was like the second time ever I've ever done that. The first time I did that was just for fun. This time wasn't fun at all.
We needed a car.
And it was tiny, and it was not very, like, Kias are disasters. Anyway.
It's the middle of the winter. He's outside in his parents' garage. Giant coat, giant, like, lights, trying to YouTube fix the engine of this car.
And I got it running, and then it broke down again, and
we sold it for parts.
Yeah, we sold it for parts.
And we ended up taking...
hard.
We ended up selling it for parts. However, we did sell it to somebody that knew how to fix it. And so they did pay a decent price for it. Like, considering that it didn't run, they paid enough that we only took an $8,000 loss.
We took an $8,000 loss.
And when I say only, that still sucks. However, keep in mind that I had only owned it for 2 years, and
it was a disaster.
It was horrible. Okay, so all of that to say, Bedford, I remember when we went into the Kia dealership for them to tell us that they were not fixing it.
I threw the biggest fit, and I made sure I ruined.
He was in their showroom yelling. People, he's like telling people like, don't buy a Kia. I have a warranty. Down with the
paper. Don't you sign that warranty?
He was furious.
And the thing that made me mad is like, I was really frustrated because my Kia was there, but it was the third Forte there that day.
Yeah.
And so and it's not like I was there all day. I was there for like 45 minutes max. And so I pull up, there's already one on the trailer. Mine is on the trailer. And then another one pulls up while I'm having the conversation. I'm like, I wanted to make sure.
Bedford was just short.
I will cost
if our car would have driven, Bedford was just short.
I probably would
have driving it through the wall into their showroom. He was so mad. I had to be like, sir, we are leaving. I'm pulling his arm out. I'm like, he doesn't get like that very often, but I was like, no, we gotta
I'm
gotta
slow.
go.
0 to 99. I'm slow. 0 to 99. But if I go 99 to 100, it's snap, and it's really, really hard to get me back off. I'm not.
It's bad.
But like the goal was honestly like I'm gonna throw a big enough fit to where this costs them as much as it costs me, because I want people to be like, huh, I'm not happy about my Kia experience.
Correct.
And I haven't even signed the papers yet. And like I wanted them to leave, and I think I actually accomplished that goal because I threw a huge fit, and I walked around. I didn't just stand in a spot. I walked around
and yell about it.
And I was like, "You sitting down, get up and leave. Go to Honda. Go to Toyota." I shouldn't have let my wife bought this car, but she wasn't my wife, and I don't know why I didn't get rid of it. Like, because immediately I was like, I don't know why we have this. And quite frankly, Kia, I think, has turned the corner. Will they ever sell a car to me again?
No. I mean, because there was actually a point too where we wanted,
like, nope.
I wanted, what's the new one?
The Telluride.
I wanted the Telluride because it's really beautiful. And that's actually something Kia does really well. They sell cars for a reasonable price that look like a luxury car. So when you get inside, you're like, this feels like a luxury car. Like, that's what I loved about my Kia, is that when I got in, I felt like I owned a really, really, really nice car. And that's how the Telluride is. If you look inside of the Telluride, it looks like a really pretty luxury car, but it's not $90,000, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it so attractive.
The secret is they put luxury cars and smack it on something where they saved all the money on the stuff you need.
They're like Matilda's dad.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like,
you know what? You
Mr.
do want
Wormwood,
leather seats and you want good designs, but guess
it's full of sawdust.
You want a drivetrain that works for a long time? You better kick yourself in the hiney. That ain't gonna work.
But the inside looks nice. But that's how they get people, is like the inside looks so beautiful and nice, and the price is so reasonable that you go for it.
Hey, you know what? The radio worked real well when I was using it while listening to music.
While fixing it at 4 a.m. in the winter.
Worked super good.
Okay, well, so all of that, again, to say that this dude, it's like, if you've had a bad car experience, you kind of get it, where you're like, because most of us aren't swimming in money to where we can just be like, all right, cool.
We'll just take it.
$8,000, whatever, I'll just pay it. Like, here's my card. You know, like most of us aren't in that situation. However, pretty much all of us need a daily driver. And so there is nothing worse than having a car that doesn't work and nobody that will help you, especially when you sign a paper and you pay the money saying that in the event that something like that happens, that they will help you. And now you're just stuck and screwed.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
It's tough because, you know, they're going to say, hey, we sold it as is. And right now they're coming off like, oh, we would have helped them. And it definitely, you know, was the wrong thing for him to do. But quite frankly, like,
they wouldn't know.
They weren't going to help him. There's a reason why he got that frustrated. I would never, like, I'm never going to that Mazda to begin with, but I would never go there anyway. Like,
well, we actually had an experience. So my ex-husband and I went to, he bought a car one time, and we had test driven it. We'd done all this stuff. And again, I worked at a credit union. Okay, we both worked there. That's actually where he met his new wife. Sidestep. So here's the thing. We went to this dealership. We drove the car. It was fine. We're driving down the street back to my parents' house, which is where we were living. It's like 5.5 minutes away, tops. Check engine light comes on prior to us getting to my parents' house. Granted, it's a used car lot, right? I take it back and I'm like, listen, this isn't going to work for us. Like, we just got a loan from you. We just barely bought this. We're not even 5 minutes away from here. Like, let me show you on my phone from here to my house. And the check engine light is on. And they did the same thing. They were like, nope, you signed this, you signed that. I was like, that's fine. I'm going to call Get Gephardt. Like, I've done loans for a really long time. I totally understand certain circumstances, but this is shady. And then they gave us our money back. Yeah. But it was like, really, though, they knew, they knew that it was an issue. Again, like Mr. Wormwood, fill it with sawdust situation. Yeah. And they knew. And they were going to stand on business until I was like, no, I will call Get Gephardt. And then they were like, actually, here's your money back. Because they knew better. And there was probably a ton of evidence that people had these issues over time. So, like, a lot of companies, they don't care. Like, if you're going to be quiet, like, so I guess that's the difference, is like, get super loud about it. If you really feel like you've been wronged, like, get loud about it. Don't drive
through their window.
Yeah. Call the news.
Because then you wind up in jail. Right. Justifiably so. But and quite frankly, the funny thing is he wound up in jail, but he probably did more damage to them and their reputation.
Oh, 1,000%.
Than they could ever fix. And unfortunately, it still doesn't help his situation. Like if there were, you know what? If there is a GoFundMe, I need to be knowing about it. I'll kick a $5 bill.
$5.
You can eat at the commissary for me. Commissary on me. I got you, bro. Eat steak tonight.
All right. Well, let's jump into some of these crazy comments.
Yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
Okay. So if you follow the pod, every day there's like a specific snippet. Okay, that is just like a short snippet on the podcast.
Or YouTube, Instagram,
and
TikTok.
It kicks you back to the full podcast, but it just gives you these little snippets to listen to. Okay, so this one specifically is about how we do not hang out one-on-one with someone of the opposite sex. Okay, we're not going to lunch with another dude. Like, I'm not going out with a guy, even if they're my friend, I'm not going out with them without Bedford. Again, this is why—
vice versa, right?
Yes, without listening to the previous podcast, that's all of the context that you're going to get.
Now, granted, we do it because it works for us. It's something that we do to build trust. You don't have to do it, but—
or sustain trust, right?
Yeah.
Like I trust Bedford. And I think that that's the misconception that a lot of people have, is that I'm doing it because I don't trust him, or vice versa. But the truth is that I do trust him. 100% I trust him. However, we are sustaining that by not taking an opportunity to maybe put ourselves in a situation we would regret.
Yeah.
Okay.
And quite frankly, like at the end of the day, like she's my number one. That's my wife. I love her with all my soul. But like, could I slip up? Absolutely. It's very possible. If I'm in the wrong places at the wrong time, I can make a poor decision. Guess what makes it way easier not to do that, right? Just don't be in the wrong places at the wrong time, right? They talk about, you hear that analogy of the ice truck driver, who were in the interview, they're like, how close to the edge could you drive without the truck falling over? And the guy that gets the job is the one that says, I don't want to get close to the edge. I go stay as far away from it. It's like, yeah, I could get super close to the edge. I could go to lunch with strippers if I want to, and I think I'd be all right, but I don't want to. And quite frankly, I don't want to risk it either way.
Right. And so here's one of the comments that somebody said. She said, if it works for y'all, that's awesome. I, however, feel like while this is to respect your partner, it also says you lack respect in yourself enough to hold your personal boundaries. And I think that's kind of what people are, because like we just said, this is our boundary. Like this is where we draw the line, because these are our boundaries. Now, again, does that mean that this is what is necessary for everyone? No, like you do what works for you. However,
I'm respecting my own boundaries.
I set my boundary, okay?
And that's where I want it to be.
Okay, now if we were to get on the pod and I was to say, I want to go out to lunch with my best guy friend, but Bedford doesn't feel comfortable with it, so because of that, I don't do it. Now we're having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we both don't want to go out to lunch with our best guy friend or our best girlfriend without our partner. I don't care to do that.
And quite frankly, like, I honestly think that if Chelsea wanted to, like, we'd have a conversation, it'd probably still be okay. But like for us, we said, hey, look, we're on the same team. This is something that would work out the best for us. We're not going to do it.
And also, what do I have to gain going to lunch with my best guy friend alone?
Nothing.
Without you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean,
why wouldn't we just go together? Like, I have nothing to gain from that. Okay, so she says, this is the same person. Follow-up question, do you feel you are able to have meaningful friendships with anyone of the opposite sex if you aren't ever one-on-one with them?
The answer to that's real short. Absolutely.
So can I have, okay, we talked about them before, but I'm just going to bring them up again because Quentin and Tyson are like, they are our ride or die best friends. Do I feel like I have a meaningful relationship with Tyson? Do you feel like you have a meaningful connective relationship with 100%. Quentin? I have never hung out one-on-one with Tyson.
And vice versa.
I do not feel if I had to pick a best guy friend, if I had to, I would pick Tyson.
Yeah, 100%. Quentin would be way up there on my
list.
Yes,
that is who we would pick. If you were like, who is your best male friend who is not Bedford or your family? Tyson Croft. That is who I'm going to pick, okay? I don't feel like I need to go to a movie. I'm not like, hey, here's the thing. I feel like our friendship is really lacking.
It's not deep and connected.
Can you and I go to a movie? Just me and you. Are we kidding with this question?
And I think too, like, to a degree, I do think you can't get the closest connection, but I think that the closest connection is reserved for you anyway.
Yes,
So I 100% think that you could get closer to Tyson or I could get closer to Q if we spent one-on-one time. I don't want to get closer. Like, we're as close as I want to get. And
Here's
I love
the thing.
them.
Here's
Any
the thing.
closer.
I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there.
Are dangerous.
Okay? I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. There is not a conversation on this earth that we have not had with Quentin and Tyson. Not a single thing. Okay? There are not a lot of boundaries when it comes to what we are willing to have conversations about. Again, we spent a week together in Mexico. We see each other 2 or 3 times a week. There was a point where, like, during the summer, we see each other at the pool 4 or 5 times a week. Okay? Like,
we hang out a heap.
We
lot.
See each other all the time.
Are on the same sport teams.
And y'all can make fun of us, but there's like, we're talking about embarrassing, like, intimate stories. Okay. We're talking about like times that our kids have just like showed up at our bedside and we're like, whoa, where did you even come from? How'd you get in here? Okay. We're having those conversations with them. What kind of conversation do you need to have with a friend of the opposite sex that would connect you
more
to them? Because we've also had really personal conversations with them.
Like
when Bedford lost his job, like when Bedford lost his job, we sat and talked with them forever about how stuck we felt and all of these things. They know the good stuff, the bad stuff. What kind of conversation are you needing to have with somebody of the opposite sex that is one-on-one that wouldn't connect you the same without your partner there?
And maybe the question is why don't you want your partner to have the same level of connection? Like, why is that?
Yeah, like what? I just don't understand what you think you're gaining.
Yeah.
I just don't. It doesn't, that, like, do you really feel you could have a connective, like, relationship with someone of the opposite sex without having one-on-one relationships? Absolutely.
And I think that, but I agree with her in that the one-on-one relationships could take it to a step further. However,
I want to go a step further? Because I'm going to be so honest with you. We are really, 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 really good friends, and then we are more than friends. Okay,
I don't want them.
I don't want more than friends.
Yeah.
And anything else that is, we are really, 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 really good friends.
I could do with you.
I could do with my partner.
Yeah.
So anybody that argues that you are incapable of having a close connective relationship with somebody of the opposite sex with your spouse around, y'all sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put that down. Hear me again. I'll say it a million times. People in the back, give me a megaphone. Y'all are sketchy.
Yep. Step your game up.
Okay. Okay. So the next one.
Or you married someone just to marry them and they actually suck as a human being. Or you are the one that sucks as a human being. Either way, there's something wrong with your relationship. Like, I'm cool enough with Chelsea that she knows all my friends. All my friends know her. And if you don't have a situation like that, I'm sorry, that doesn't work out. Well,
and I guess that brings up something else. Like, are you having conversations with this other person because you aren't able to have those conversations with your partner? Do you feel like you need that? Because, like, there are things that I talk to Bedford and then Quentin about, but here is the thing, like, maybe that's what's going on. It's like, I have this friendship because I can't communicate with my partner. Like, I don't feel like he would understand or she would understand.
But at the same time, like, a lot of times bringing in another person of the opposite gender probably wouldn't understand unless they want to understand, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, we said this in the last episode as well, but it's one of those things where, like, people want to think that affairs are like, well, I just went out one night and it just happened. It just slipped and fell, and then it was just this one night thing. That's not what's happening, okay? And so when I talk about my ex-husband's affair, I actually, like, I always say that, like, my nightmares were like the physical affair. Like, that is what I would have nightmares about. But the thing that actually hurt me the worst is that they were like up texting at 3:00 in the morning, talking about music they liked and things that, you know, they had in common, and like their dreams and their, you know, their bucket list and what they wanted to do in their lives. Like that hurt. Or like, you know, my ex-husband's sister passed away and he was like talking to her about it and like his feelings around that. And again, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, well, what was going on here? And that made it so that you didn't feel like you could communicate that with me. Now, I'll own that. Like, I will own that. If I did something that made you feel like you couldn't communicate with me, right, then I'll own that. But that was hurtful. And so regardless of whether they are a person of interest for you or whether they're just like a friend, having that connective piece with someone that you are unable to have with your partner, that brings an extra level to that relationship that is dangerous and shouldn't exist. Okay. Now, I will tell you as well that somebody messaged me once after I had this conversation on my Instagram stories, and she essentially told me I was crazy, right? Like I was like, listen, if you have this relationship with a coworker or a neighbor or somebody at the gym, like go to a different gym, get a different job. Okay. And she messaged me, told me I was crazy. A year later, she messaged me and told me that she was sorry because she ended up having an affair, because she said that she had a coworker that she was really close with and that, you know, blah, blah, blah. They were just really good friends and it was crazy to think that they shouldn't be able to just go to lunch together, etc. She ended up messaging me and saying that she had an affair and that she ended up getting a different job and that her and her husband were now in therapy. And that she was like, I just wish I would have listened and like paid attention to the signs, right? Of like, I like his attention. I like his company. I like being with him.
I've got to get dressed up extra nice today at work so I could get a compliment or whatever.
Those types of things. So you can say whatever you want about it, but the reality is that some friendships go a different direction. Okay. Like that's just the truth. Now, this next one is a little bit of, we don't have any experience in this arena. So I'm going to put this out there and y'all can leave your comments about it. Okay. This person said, they said LMAO. I just had lunch with one of my guy friends the other week. My wife didn't even bat an eye. This is wild.
So mind you, this is a woman. So we're talking same gender relationship.
Yep.
Right?
She has a wife.
We don't care. You do whatever you want, right?
Like, I'm so happy for you.
I feel like it's not the same.
I got a lot of people, and maybe y'all listen to the podcast, okay? So like Melissa and Kara, like if y'all are listening, actually, I'm just going to go ahead because I know that they wouldn't care because I love them, okay? So I have a couple of friends, Melissa and Kara, and they are both in a relation, like they're married to women. Okay. Well, one of them is engaged and one of them is married and they have kids and they are best friends. Okay. They are best friends. And there are so many, like, if you're really looking at this comment, it's like you could evaluate it and be like, oh, okay, well, obviously you went out with a dude. You're not interested in dudes. So why would your wife be worried? Okay. But then you could flip it to Melissa and Kara and you could look at them like they travel together, like they hang out all the time, right? And now, they're both attracted to women. However, when you're looking at it, they're like, okay, well, guess what? I don't have any dudes in my life that want to go see a chick flick and then go shop until I drop. Like women want to do that,
and
right?
That's just tough. Like,
so that's something where y'all are going to have to decide what works for you, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work for us. And obviously you got some different...
There's different dynamics in play there. And that's something that like, so again, this is not our arena, but like a lot of people actually brought that up. Well, like what about same-sex couples? Like, are they just not allowed to be with their friends? And it's like, listen, that's a dynamic we don't know about. Okay. But also I can see the complexities of it. I can see where people are like, okay, so are we just not allowed to hang out with girls? Because again, like Melissa and Kara's relationship is so beautiful. Like they are ride or die supportive of each other. Right. And I love their friendship. I love them as people. And that's something that you're going to have to work through and a dynamic that y'all are going to have to, but we're not talking about that. Like in our dynamic, that's not really how it works. right? Because again, if you take that same concept and I'm like, well, I just want to hang out with Tyson because like we're going to go see a chick flick and then we're going to go shop till we drop. Like we don't have
Tyson
the same interest. He doesn't want to do that. Like
and
Q is going to be like,
want to go play 9 holes. Okay. I'm not going to be like, hey Q, you trying to play 9 holes? Trying to get some golf in? She's going to be like,
right.
Absolutely not. You know who is going to want to go sometimes because he gave up golf and I'm definitely but Tyson, he might want to go play some golf.
Right. So again, we're gauging interests. We're gauging like how you want to spend your time. And that's different when you are the same gender, right? Yeah. Or you're in the same gender relationship or marriage. Like that is different. We don't know what that looks like. So we're not going to speak on that because that's not the life we live. But in our situation, I can confidently say that there are no men in my life that are also that are interested in women that want to go out and do the same thing I want to do. So in that situation, we're going to catch ourselves at a movie or dinner, right? Just to be able to say that we're catching up as friends. And we could do that together, right?
I could be there. We make it a double date. It'll be fine.
Okay. So this comment says it's giving insecure codependency and toxic distrust.
First off, toxic distrust. It ain't distrust. Like, I don't have to. I mean, it's just weird. Like, it's either like, hey, you do whatever you want, or I completely distrust you, or vice versa. And that's not the way the world works. There are safety rails. Okay, we have speed limits, not because the law distrusts everyone, but because the speed limits help you to ensure that everybody gets to operate at a safe speed. Okay?
Right.
Now, some people, Max Verstappen, he could drive 170 miles an hour. He's just fine. Okay? My man's nice with it. Some other people, aka my mom, she cannot drive 60 miles an hour and it's aggressive and we probably should lower it down for them. But the speed limit is to be like, hey, look, this is what works best for most people. It's not a trust thing. It's just guidelines for success, right?
Sure.
Now, codependency, 100%. I'm codependent on my wife. That's like...
we can operate as individuals, but in a relationship.
I picked her to be my ride or die. She is my partner. That is called codependency. Sure.
Like, here's the thing. I have this mentality of like, and I have shared this with Bedford multiple times. Like, I really don't love the phrase like I could never live without you, right? Yeah. And because I used to think that was like romantic, like to be with somebody that you just didn't feel like you could ever live without, that like was romantic for me. But now as I've gotten older and I've been in multiple relationships, like I don't want somebody that couldn't possibly live without me. Like I want someone that doesn't want to, that chooses to be with me because they want to be with me. Like they could totally live without me, but they don't because they don't want to, right? So obviously we are functional individuals on our own.
And the fact that we don't go one-on-one with other people doesn't mean that we don't go out independent a lot.
Yes, like...
Look, I'm going to Costco by myself. I'm going to hang out with my boys and play golf. I'm going to go to the work party with multiple genders.
Yes.
Or whatever. Like, that happens. The only thing I am not doing...
is finding
one person of the opposite gender and going to dinner or lunch or whatever it is. I'm not playing around to golf with some woman. No, like, that... There's a difference between codependency... and I can't go anywhere without my wife, or simply I'm choosing to protect my marriage. That's all.
No, absolutely. And I think that like, cause like, so this comment, I just had to dig through, just for the record, I had to dig through a ton of comments from people saying like straight people are weird, or like my wife, you know, I am a lesbian and my wife. So like this one says, as a lesbian, I can't imagine this. Almost all of my friends are female, as is my partner. So I wouldn't be able to have conversations with any of my friends if we had a similar setup. I just trust her. Okay. It's a different dynamic, y'all. It's a different dynamic. And so,
like, move on.
Right. So But I moved into the next segment. Okay. So the last one was we don't hang out with anybody. Now this one, we're just talking about, we also don't have like one-on-one communication with somebody of the opposite sex that our partner is not privy to or capable of being privy to. Okay. So it's not like we don't ever text anybody of the opposite sex. This comment says, I have zero cares if my wife calls the males in our friend group. I text daily with the wife of one of our best friend couples. I text the husband too, and sometimes it's a group text. Trust is awesome.
Yes.
Okay, we are on the same page.
However, the only thing that could be different is our rule is our significant other has to be privy to it.
Yes, I can open Bedford's phone, which again, I don't. Okay, it's not like I'm digging through his phone. He's not digging through mine because we trust each other. However, should I open his phone, I'm going to see a bunch of text messages and memes that him and Quentin have sent back and forth. Now, Tyson and I don't text each other very often or ever because we aren't those kind of people. It is not my personality type to want to send a million text messages or like memes and reels.
It's not even text. Like those are all like, it's super convenient. Instagram lets you just send it to.
Yes, exactly. But Bedford and Q will get lost in these like real holes where they're just sitting and listening. They're just watching. They're laughing their butts off. Okay. And Tyson and I are like, please don't send us anything else. Like y'all are so annoying. Okay?
They opted out of the group.
We did. We did not want to. However, we have a group friend text message group. Okay. So we are not saying that you shouldn't talk to your best friends. It is just habitual for us. If I'm going to call one of them, I'm calling her. Yep. If he's going to call one of them, he's calling him. And if we can't get a hold of him, then we'll call the other person. But habitually and behaviorally, it is normal for us to say, I'm going to call the girl in the relationship or I'm going to call the guy in the relationship. Like, and there's literally, because if my first instinct was like, I'm going to call Tyson when I could call Q, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense.
And at the end of the day, access.
Yes.
Access. So if you're going to say, hey, I can text whatever, and then I'm going to have a password my wife doesn't know, guess what? I don't know.
Y'all have something to hide. Y'all, and I don't even, so again, and we talked about this in the last episode, but so I did a poll forever ago about people that have had, they or their partner have had an affair, or they know somebody that has had an affair. And I asked who that person was in relation to them, okay? So like the person that they had an affair with, who was that person?
It was someone they knew.
Someone they knew.
Close.
The number one answer was someone that they worked with. Okay.
Yep.
Number one. And it's because most of the time we spend more time at work than we do at home. Okay.
That's fair.
Number one was somebody that they worked with. Number two was one of their best friend's partners.
Yep.
Okay. It was somebody in their circle. It was like my husband had an affair with my best friend. My sister had an affair with her husband's best friend. And it is because you have the opportunity to connect. Connection matters. Like if we are really looking at this from a sexual standpoint, then we're not having the right conversation. Who you are connected with. Like not a lot of people want to just run out and have sex with just about anybody. Like sex is a connective piece of a relationship, and connection comes first. Like those feelings of wanting to have that type of a relationship with someone comes from connection. And so that is why when you are having an affair, it was a connection. There was a connection
emotional
first.
Connection.
You felt close with that person. You felt safe with that person. You enjoyed their company. Like that is where it comes from. And so that was the number two answer, was somebody within our friend group.
Yep.
Right?
And so, do you.
But also recognize that there are other people that are doing it differently than you, and that it's not because we don't trust each other, but it's because number one, like I've had an experience where, and like, I don't know if I said this before, but my ex-husband, like the way I trusted my ex-husband, he could have left the house and said, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm just going to get milk. That's it. That's all I'm getting.
I think he did do that a couple times, honestly.
Yes. And the grocery store is 2.5 minutes away. It's just up the street. I would have been at home cleaning the house, doing my thing.
Hey, why are you in a city far away?
Well, at the time, it would have been very convenient for me to have find my friends, but we didn't have that.
That's true.
And so at that time, he could have been gone for 2 hours and then come home with just milk. And he could have said like, hey, sorry, I ran into somebody that we know, or I ran into some guy I went to high school with and we sat and chatted for too long. And then I helped some lady put her groceries into her car, like some old woman or whatever, returned her cart. And I would have been like, oh, good on you. Great. I would never have even thought twice, not one time, because I trusted him so much that I would have been like, all right, cool. And guess what? I still have that. Like, even after the experience that I had of knowing that I trusted somebody that way and then they violated that trust, that didn't change for me the way that I wanted to trust somebody else.
Yeah.
So like the same thing could happen. Like Bedford could go to the grocery store. He could come home 2 hours later with just milk and say the same thing. And I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, that's fine. Because this isn't about whether or not you trust your partner. It's just about putting yourself in situations that, like, they might not, because the truth is, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, this is where infidelity comes from.
Yeah.
This is it. Okay. And so, and it's the people, again, the girl that messaged me later and said, I'm really sorry. I wish I would have listened. Like, that doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to enough people that I don't need that. I had a best friend years ago. I don't know. It's been 6 or 7 years. We used to go to the gym together. I'm not going to throw her name out there.
Oh,
okay.
I know what you're talking about.
But I watched her go from obsessed with her husband, but she was the gym, like, she was super flirty. She talked to, but it's because she was ripped. She was super, super strong. And so all the dudes at the gym talked to her and she was super happy to sit and have conversations with them. And like, that's cool.
Those conversations got
those conversations turned in. So then they had some stuff happen in their marriage that made things a little bit rough in their marriage. She's going to the gym. She's talking about that with all of these guys that she's super connected to because they had one-on-one time. And she's telling them, like, I'm really struggling. I'm having a hard time. These dudes are like more than happy to be like, man, I'm so sorry. Do you need a shoulder to cry on? Okay. Some of them are married. Some of them are not. Yeah. And before I know it, she's sleeping with multiple, like, and when I say multiple, we're not talking about 2. We're talking about 5, 7, 10 guys at the gym. Okay, she's had multiple affairs. She then goes to her husband and is like, I want to open our marriage. Okay, it's because she created these connections. And it wasn't like I met her.
Zero intentions of having those.
Yes. When I met her, I had never met anybody that was more obsessed with her husband. It was like ridiculous. Okay.
All over the top.
Like, but beautiful, right? And then over time, like, they start having these problems. They've got some like financial issues. Which
is normal. Like,
totally normal. But then before you know it, like, it's turned into something completely different because she has created these safe, like, comfortable spaces somewhere else. And now other people are making her feel loved. Somebody else is making her feel appreciated. Somebody else is making her feel comfortable. And that happens. And so if y'all want to say, like, that's not going to happen to me, but we're still going to do it, like, cool for you. I'm so happy for you. I am not judging you. I think that that's fine. Y'all do you. But as someone who has seen it in my immediate family, in my extended family, in my friend circles, over and over and over, and it's all started the same way, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't want to be that person. Like, and so because of that, I take these measures. Okay. Yep. And that's why. So, I mean, y'all can agree with it or disagree with it, and that's fine. And guess what? You guys can argue with each other because we're not going to argue with you in the comment section. But
whatever, I totally am.
Bedford will come for you. He's just coming straight for your throat, and that's fine. But, like, at the end of the day, it's not about trust. It's really not.
It's more so just about, look, and it's just like almost anything else in life. You got to build it. Everything has got to, if you want something great, it's got to be built. And there's little practices here and there that will help you ensure that whatever it is that you're doing is great. I like basketball. So there's little basics that I do to get better at basketball. Even though I'm not going to make it to the league, I'm 5'9", I can't do it. Anyway, but like my marriage is going to be one of those things. And if there's small things here and there that I can do to get better and be great at being married, then I'm going to do it. And especially if there's nothing else to lose, like, you know what?
Yeah.
If any of my friends really, really dislike Chelsea, cool. and you're a girl, I'm fine letting you go. I'm all right with it. And like most of them, all of them love her. I can't think of anyone.
I mean,
who
wouldn't?
Pretty good.
Actually, there's a lot of people that don't like me, and that's okay.
Like, look, a lot of my friends have been like, "Oh, that's awesome. We love your wife. She could come hang out," and that's it. That's all. Like, and like, it's easy. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't communicate and you feel like you have to act different, then that's on you. That has nothing to do with what.
And guess what? Not even maybe 100%. There are people out there that have solid marriages where they are incredibly happy.
Yeah.
Communication is strong. And they have friends of the opposite sex and they go hang out with those people without their partner. And then they come home and everything is cool and fine. And guess what?
Those guys
I promise you that, but at the end of the day, there are people that they have that kind of thing. Okay, where they go out with their best friend and it's cool and it's fine and no one cares and they come home and it's just like, hey, how was it? How did it go? Okay, if that's you, go you. Go you. We're good. And that's the crazy part, I think, of just like society in general, is that people can't come out and say, because even on the last podcast, we didn't say like, if you guys are doing this, you guys are freaking weird. Okay, like
we said, this is what we do.
We just said, this is what we do. And like one of them was, we don't have Snapchat, and that pissed people off. And it's like, okay, cool. Like if you guys want that, that's cool. But the fact that people can't just like hold space for somebody that does something different than them without being like, this is crazy and controlling. Yeah. Like we could turn right around and be like, no, y'all are loose with your relationship. Like y'all don't care about your relationship. No. If that's really what we wanted. But we don't, because I don't think that. I just think we do things differently than you. Right? Like that's cool.
But it's working. So we're 10 years in. And
almost 11, dang near 11 years. Yeah. And things are going fine. And not one time.
We got to go somewhere for 11 years.
Probably Mexico.
Probably should go with just Mexico. We
love Mexico.
So that would be good.
Yeah. So I'm actually going somewhere with another guy for our 11-year anniversary, but we're just friends. So
yeah, that other guy's me. My alter ego.
Yeah, he has a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, so those are just some of the responses that we received. It's so funny how many people get so up in arms about how somebody else chooses to handle their marriage when it has like literally zero effect on them. We have had 0 friends, just for the record, that are like, that's freaking weird. I'm annoyed that you can't come out with me, or that your husband always has to tag along, or your wife. Like
none.
No one has ever said anything about it. Nobody
but that is
cares.
Also, that does represent who we hang out with.
It's also a sign of like the people that we hang out with, and like what, I don't think anybody that we hang out with would ever think that is okay either. Right. But at the end of the day, like, we're good. We're happy. But I like the comments were just so crazy, which I mean, we saw coming. So
anyway, like, subscribe, share the video. If this is something that you get hot and bothered by, tell us about it. Yeah,
in the comments, how mad you
Chelsea
are.
Distastes trust.
Yeah, okay? If you guys could just leave us comments about how much you hate us and how much we don't trust each other.
How mad you are that I can't come hang out with you at dinner.
How crazy controlling we are.
Even though I would never go anyway. But, let's
leave us a comment. We want to know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Love y'all. Love y'all. Thank you for everything.
See you next week.
Yup.